everybody, look!
We're live in person, on seats and everything, with water.
We promised you something special this week, and Toby and I have come all the way to Minneapolis to support Callie with her Disrupt HR tomorrow. So, quick conversation on that before we get going. Tell us more about how people can get tickets if they've been naughty and you haven't got your tickets yet.
DisruptHRMSP.com. There's a link right there. Do it today because tomorrow you'll have to buy in person at the event, which is fine, but not as cool. And one of the fun things is we have super cool, what do you call this? A digital business card, right?
Yeah.
So one of our sponsors, Mobilo, is giving the first 100 people through the door their very own digital business card. It takes 30 seconds to get it going so you can use it at the event. And then when you get home, you can elaborate and include more details. Like I have my website, I added a phone number. So super, super cool. And the first 100 people through the door gets themselves one of these.
We just set ours up, me and Sam just set ours up this morning, and it took, I think 30 seconds is like overstating it. Like it takes less than 30 seconds.
Yeah. Ooh, you should show off yours. So they were super cool. The original ask was to get some for our speakers. And of course, as a speaker, Toby is getting one, and so, Sam also got one.
I'm just going to pop it out.
But they're beautiful. They're metal.
Yeah, they are
like,
super cool.
Like I've won a medal at the Olympics.
So I let these guys have theirs early so that they could get them set up and be ready to go. Everyone else who's speaking will get one when they get their gift. So super excited.
Who's speaking?
12 of the most amazing HR professionals. We've got one Mr. Toby speaking, and then 11 people from the community. And so it's going to be an awesome mix of professionals from different backgrounds talking about their niche areas. We have an attorney who's speaking from our sponsor, Cozen O'Connor. So thank you for sponsoring once you find out you're a speaker. It's an incredible group of people. We've got a couple CHROs. We've got some really cool innovators in the space. We've got innovators in the entrepreneurial space. So lots of really, really great content.
Yeah. And I think that's why I know I get teased quite a bit because I travel so much with Disrupt HR. I just love it. I just love the whole disruptive element. I love we've got to change things and this is how we're going to do it. You know, there's not a compliance person in sight. And if they are, please don't apply unless you're going to come and talk about change. If not, and I think that's what makes it so special, and the community and the relationships that become part of it. Shall we show and share the gifts? This is a little bit of a different show, but we were so excited with this. We've done some gift exchange, and they range from...
I feel like I've got, I don't want to brag, but I feel like I got the most gifts.
You did. And also,
honestly,
I got them HR Breakfast USA mugs that I was like, we're going to use our mugs today, and then they haven't come yet. So I'll be sending along gifts to the next stop. And so there are more gifts than what we have today.
Disrupt HR Phoenix next. Woo, woo. So where do we start with the gifts? Toby, I think we should start with your gift.
Well, I think if any of my lovely people from Kellanova are watching, not only did I get bought one box of Cheez-It, I got bought 2 boxes of Cheez-It so I could taste the difference between Cheez-It Original and Cheez-It Reduced Fat.
Which tastes better. That is the point of the taste comparison, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm. To be fair, like these are probably, when do we leave? Wednesday morning. These are probably going to have all gone by Wednesday morning.
Yes.
You can't pack. You
can't pack Cheez-It. You got to eat Cheez-It. Cheez-It. Sorry, it's just like that's the commercial.
I was wondering why the boxes
you didn't even
Cheez-It.
get sponsorship for that before you did that. So please sponsorship right there. Please get in touch with him if you want sponsorship in the USA.
I thought those were there just because you wanted to eat them. I
genuinely thought.
It's genuinely my favorite gift.
This is Guy that for breakfast. I'm trying to do healthy breakfast for all of us, right? So what did we do for breakfast this morning, Teddy?
Well, we had eggs on toast, scrambled eggs on toast.
And what else do we have?
Well, I put crisps on top of my eggs.
Yes.
Chips, if you're in the US. Barbecue flavored chips.
Spicy barbecue.
Oh, spicy, sorry.
I think that's fine. We had taco pizza last night, which is a new thing for me. That's got chips on top of pizza, right? So why is chips on eggs any different? You just put chips on everything. No?
It's a fair point.
Let's move on. Next gift, please, Toby.
Well, sorry, I ate one because I picked them up and was like, I can't not eat them. Right, these are super cool. Anyone who watches like any of Callie's videos, you've got one of these in the background, right?
Yeah.
These are, I think, what the kids would call sick.
So the kids use that word now?
Yeah, I'm going to call these kicks as well because I'm really cool. I've got my very own sneakers, trainers, Converse,
High tops,
baseball shoes,
high tops.
Disrupt MSP specific, like branded. I'm going to come up to the camera so you can have a look. Look at those bad boys.
So if you were on last week, Toby started asking for hints on what we were doing for speaker gifts this year. And Sam has a pair of her own from last year.
I do, and they are amazing.
And so Toby was like, are you getting us shoes? And so Toby was specifically ordered his own shoes. So they are limited edition. There's one pair of Disrupt MSP 5.0 shoes, and they are Toby's.
If anyone wanted any validation that I have the attitude of a child, I went, I want some shoes! And then Mom went out and got me some shoes.
And then told you not to wear them too much because they're not good for your feet.
Yeah. Oh, they've got stuffing in. I was going to try and put them on, but like you can't see my feet, so there's not much point putting these on. But this is like a live unboxing. They're very cool. They smell new. They look sick. I am probably going to wear them for my talk, I think. So yeah, if you want a pair, tough luck because this is the only pair in existence.
Amazing.
You might have some company. I have a feeling that some people that spoke last year are probably going to show up in their shoes this year.
You mean I'm not going to be unique? Well, no, because they're the 2024 ones.
They look the same. They are modeled after the speaker gift from last year, but they do have updated information to say the venue and date of today's event rather than last year's.
I've just realized there's an airplane hanging in that tree. Sorry, so you can't see this on the camera, but there's like an indoor tree in this Airbnb, and there's like a little wire plane. And I've been sat in this living room now for 2 days and not known that that's there.
And we have gone out, by the way. We have left the house. Okay, shall we do next gift?
Sure.
Which one shall we go with? Shall we go for...
You choose. Okay. You have to explain this one because you'll do a better job of telling the story than I will.
Oh, so I was literally just before this live stream talking to Verity. So Verity will know very well where this... Verity, if you're watching, the octopus has come all the way to America, as promised, and Jamie as well. So last year at Disrupt HR Birmingham, Octopus Energy EV Octopus EV were sponsoring last year's event, and they had loads of these. They only had one, but they had loads of tiny little ones. And this is before. This is like when.
This is before we met.
Yeah,
that's how we met. I was like, I want one of those.
Because I posted a picture of these tiny little octopi on LinkedIn. Oh, you commented and said you wanted one, and then I said to you, "Get me Callie's address, and I'll send one." So
he
last
did say
year,
please, by the way, after that,
I sent one tiny little octopus all the way from my house in Norfolk, England, to Moorhead, Minnesota. That was like this time last year.
It was.
And then Birmingham, Disrupt HR Birmingham happened, 4 weeks ago, Verity? And I begged and pleaded, hands and knees. It's like, I need one of the big ones so I can take it over to Minnesota. And bam, here we go. Postage was a lot cheaper because I just look at the suit. I think it's probably more expensive, isn't it? Flying something over. So now you've got something to go in your backdrop.
Yeah, well, I can have this one next to the tiny one that's been in my backdrop since it arrived, except when my toddler steals it. So that's probably the same with this.
Yeah, it'll come and go.
Yeah, it'll definitely come and go.
Are you going to give it a name?
Oh, man.
I've already put you on the spot, so
I was about to say, harsh question.
I mean, is it an octopus name that I'm giving it? Like Inkley?
Inkley, I like that.
Inkley's cool.
Or do I need like a disrupt name?
Oh, just Dave. That's like the typical British things. Like every time you want to give something a random name, Dave.
Kevin
the octopus. I feel like there's got to be alliteration in there, right? Like Otto the octopus or something.
We have a peacock down the road from us, and we call it Kevin. He kind of wanders the village.
Cool.
How about Harriet?
Harriet the octopus.
Harriet, yeah.
Harriet works. Well, there you go. There you go, Very Jamie. The octopus name is Harriet. So the folks over at my staff shop as well, I think they have a few of those in the office, and they're all named. So Verity, you'll have to let us know what the names of like you did tell me. I'm so sorry, but you did tell me, but I forgot like what all the names were. So they had like a whole day of giving them names. So yeah, sorry. I got distracted by the little plane in the tree. Now there's like a herd of geese outside this window right here. Like no word of a lie. We were having breakfast this morning, and right down the middle of the road was a line of 8 geese just walking down the road, stopping traffic, or one truck.
And this is like a decently busy road too. It's not the side street. This is a real road.
There's more there as well. There's like loads there, loads there. Is there water nearby?
I don't know.
Oh, well, there you go.
By my house, it's turkeys. Turkeys do that.
Huh.
They stop traffic for a decent amount of time. So it was like a little taste of home.
I should have closed the blinds. I'm being very distracted by just looking out the window.
I know. It's been like this for 2 days. And finally, the last thing that Callie had was this. So Pitch Club members and business clubbers, those of you who were there on Friday, well done. You earned your hat. You did awesome jobs because you pitched it. So Callie had hers early.
Thank you. So I wore it to a Twins game yesterday. We went to Target Field, experienced a real live American baseball game.
Yeah, although like it wasn't really much of a game. It was pretty much of a write-off. I don't know the rules of baseball, but like
here, move back so you're in the frame.
Like not a lot happened during the game, which is good because we spent most of the time drinking beer and talking. So that's
and walking around, looking at souvenirs.
Yeah, like for any UK people watching, like there was a bar in the ground. Like I know there are bars in like English sports grounds, but this was like a proper sports bar with TVs. There was the shop, like it was on a different level. And then we were up in the nosebleeds as well. So we got this amazing view of not only the baseball and the whole stadium, which seats around 40,000 people, but also like the Minneapolis skyline as well, which and the weather here is like unseasonably good.
Yeah.
In English money, it's 28 degrees Celsius, blue skies, not a cloud in the sky. Kind of the same today. I don't know why I'm wearing a jacket, but yeah, why is it? I was going to ask you, why is the weather so good? Like I thought it was going to be like the UK and drizzly and grey, but it's not.
Yeah, it is unseasonably warm and dry right now. Yeah. So usually it's more jacket weather, though. With all the air conditioning, when we get in buildings, you'll probably be glad you have it.
Yeah, totally. So let's talk about why we're all here today, just briefly. And I think, Callie, I first met you, we bonded over plants a year and a half ago.
Yeah. You were one of the first people to know that I was like 99% sure I was getting the Minneapolis license.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've all come together through Disrupt and that whole kind of, Disrupt movement, really. I met Toby at Disrupt HR Norwich. We're now here for Disrupt HR Minneapolis and Disrupt HR Phoenix. But the whole premise of that we need to change the world of work and we need to do better at kind of bringing about that evolution. I think what's really interesting, and I've seen over the last year, hence we're here today, is, I spend a lot of time in the States now, more in the UK, obviously, if Taxman's watching, but just that the divide is becoming much less. I think, in terms of the employment law aspects, right, of course, very different, state to state is very different. But actually that whole thing and that whole emphasis on we need to bring around change, that feels like it's even more borderless now than it was even 12 months ago. What's behind that, do you reckon? Tony, I want to start with you.
Just more geese. the movement is more borderless. I don't know. Like, I think there's a general recognition by everyone that the way things, the whole like framework or ecosystem of work isn't really working, probably for employers and employees. Employers, because the economy in both countries is tanking or tanked or not great, and employees are more disenfranchised with employment than ever as well. So it's like both things are on a downward trend. Usually you probably only see like one of those. Like if we go back to 2006, like I don't remember there being such a malaise in terms of the working population and in terms of employment, but you know, businesses were going down. So at least one was kind of steady while the other one was tanking. But as both are on a downward trajectory in quite a few places, I think that's probably the unifying thing, that you've got two huge populations of people, employees and employers, going, this is shit and it's not working. And yeah, the whole, it's just becoming more of a conversation on social media as well. So I think if we look at things like, I know TikTok was around 12 months, right? But there is this more openness from employees to share stories about their employers, their working environment and stuff like that, especially on TikTok. So I think we've probably just become more open to that conversation, sharing on social media. If you even think like 5 years ago, I know Glassdoor existed, so there was a conversation about what employers were like, but like that conversation now transcends platforms like Glassdoor and Indeed, because now it's just happening on social media. It's happening in Reddit forums. It's just happening everywhere. So employers have nowhere to hide. Employees have nowhere to hide. So like there's just this globalization of the conversation around work, I think, as a result.
I think, you know, what Jennifer McClure and those initial founders found, and why Disrupt has been such a successful movement, is the people who actually want to make work better for both sides, because we know that when we make things better for employees, they produce better results, which is better for the company, right? That it's a really lonely, isolating, frustrating experience to be that person. And there's a lot of us, and being able to find the other people who also recognize that we are at a pivotal time for changing, and that's an exciting thing. And yes, it's scary, but it's really exciting. And there's so many opportunities, and there's so many ways to carve out your own unique approach to that. And I think that's part of why Disrupt has been so successful, or at least why I got so excited about the idea. I mean, the joke in my house is you do 2 Disrupts and then you naturally get your own license.
Yeah.
Because I had spoken at 2 before. I was like, yeah, this is the thing I'm going to do. But the excitement and energy in that room, even when those rooms are different places, is unlike anything I've experienced at any other version of an HR learning or conference, because it is people who do want to be excited about the industry and they do want to change. And so having that fast pass, whether it's nationally, knowing, hey, this is another person who gets it and has participated in Disrupt, or in person, when you get to see those people in your own community, it's a really energizing, mobilizing opportunity that I think just is such a magical, beautiful thing that we don't see in other areas of people's space, especially when people get so fiercely competitive and protective of what they're doing. Disrupt is sharing and opening up and saying, let's all be better, because we're all better for us all being better. And not so much about that gatekeeping of individual, personal, institutional knowledge.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is, you know, you've both heard me talk a lot about the philosophy of future back thinking and how that works, and why actually building a business plan through building the plan here, but that knowledge building is running alongside as you continue to build that. I'm excited by that. And funnily enough, for my Disrupt HR Phoenix talk, I actually talk about the fact I've really struggled to put it together. Yes, I'm talking about, you know, the future and what does that look like, and commercializing HR, which I fundamentally am, you know, so passionate about, and how that we come about to be able to do that. There is still so much that's unknown, but I'm good with that. I think if we, you know, have the blinkers, yes, I agree with you, this is scary, but I'm also really excited to see where it ends up. put it this way, I wouldn't want to be a Microsoft or an Amazon or an IBM right now, because I think their day is done. Sorry, if you're big wigging, well, you won't be watching this, I doubt, but if you are, I stand by it, and I'd explain exactly why. It's, there is something very odd in my mind about a company having the pulling power of a country. And I'm not necessarily sure I agree with that, unless there is, a real element of community and local support around it. So the Disrupt HR movement and bringing about that change is so good, not only for the HR community, but for those who are in full-time employment, for those who have their own businesses, because of that community and collaboration on so many levels. I'm really excited to see what comes out of Disrupt tomorrow. I'm really excited to see what, the new conversations and everything else. And the very fact that we're back for the second year running, I think is testament to the community, the engagement, the conversation, the energy in the room. So, I implore any of you watching, if you haven't been to a Disrupt, do it. If you're comfortable with where the world of work is, don't. But if you want to see change, yeah.
I'd be very surprised if anyone's comfortable with where the world of work is.
There are some people who are like, yeah, I'm good with this. Do you know what I mean? I've come across
Then you must be either. This is a live stream. I can't see like that. Hey, everything's cool. Like the world of work, like it obviously isn't. Now there are going to be some employers out there that are doing better than most, for sure. But like you can't just sit on the sidelines and go, yeah, it's probably fine. It'll sort itself out, because it won't. It needs to be a movement, and I think Disrupt kind of fills that void where, Sherms and CIPDs of the world are not going to create that movement for you to disrupt and change the world of work to this future state.
Yeah.
So it's got to rely on both internal and external practitioners in the HR space. And this is the cool thing about what you've done with MSP, is that you've got internal and external practitioners. I've been to some, HR events where it's just lots of externals talking about trying to sell their wares.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, that isn't really going to change and progress the industry as well. If I look at learning technologies in the UK earlier this year, like there was a lot of just companies doubling down on what they already did and then just sticking some AI on the side of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you're not changing the industry. You're kind of just using the technology to double down on what already exists. And like I say, that's, just lots of vendors talking, whereas what you've got here is like a mix of internal and external and all that stuff in the melting pot. I'm going to go and walk over here just for a quick second, because I just want to check if we've had any comments, because, behind the scenes kind of stuff, we can't see the comments from where we're sat because the laptop is over there. So I'm going to go over, I might shout some stuff over, but you guys keep talking.
That's great.
I love that. Yeah, and I think 2025 is going to see yet more change, because both the UK and USA by then would have had, your elections forthcoming. We're dealing with the fallout from our election, and now a lot of people are saying, I'm not happy with where things are going. So I think 2025 is going to be an equally interesting year.
Yeah.
But I also think it's going to be the year where I still think it's going to be tough, but people will have calmer waters to navigate through.
I sure hope so. I mean, seeing all of the mass layoffs happening, how hard it is to get any traction from an interview standpoint. I think there's a lot of really incredible opportunities for improvement. And, the point about no one's happy. I mean, there's so much distrust that the employer does not have the employee's interest at heart. And when you hear things about, oh, these are fake job postings, one to either drive traffic to a website or to give false hope to employees who are drowning that there's help coming when there really is no intention of help coming. Yeah. Both of those are incredibly sad. They're incredibly sad places to be. And HR mobilizing and really working hard to build and rebuild trust is imperative. Mm. And that's only going to make things better for everyone once we start to get a better handle on that. And disruption is how that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And it's needed. I don't think it's going to get any easier anytime soon. And we ourselves have seen a 30 to 35% increase in people coming to us saying, I want to start my own business. UK and USA, that's kind of the average. I also think that's a good thing. It means actually the HR community will be more listened to. The sad reality is so many HR consultants we talk to and fractional CHROs will say, we are listened to more now we're out than we were when we were full-time. How sad is that?
Oh, I got that moving from HR to HR tech. Now all of a sudden I know something about these things that I've been talking about for the last 15 years. Like, okay, cool. So I have a new name tag. That means that means something. But yeah, I think to your point about having people from all places, it takes all of those different facets for this change to happen. We need people at the vendor level. We need people at the consulting level. Yeah. We need people in the actual companies. It takes all of us. And so we should have representation from all of those at all conferences, not just out of Disrupt. And so I hope that we see more of that and in the future from other places because they need to do better too.
Oh, totally. Very cheeky one for you. If any of the organisers of Transform are watching this, Toby and I would love some sponsorship for Vegas next year. Just saying. But yeah, I think everyone does need to come together in that and have different people on the stages. Personally, I'm fed up with seeing the same people on the stages because I know I just said what I said, but same people who have bought their place on the stage every year. I would like to see that change in 2025. And again, that goes back to why Disrupt is so good. The new voices, the fresh voices. I love that and the different perspective. You don't have to agree, but that curiosity of, okay, hadn't thought of that. I initially don't agree, but help me to understand your point of view because I might change. I know I can learn something. So I hope we see more of that.
I'm just thinking, do I take this opportunity to slam Sherm again? But
I mean,
yeah, Sherm are a bag of crap. Is that what you want to do?
Well, I mean, yeah, basically. But I think it's Sherm last year brought in Kevin Bacon as one of their top speakers at Sherm National, which I'm sure he did a phenomenal job.
I don't know, from a marketing perspective, you've got me hooked now. Like, oh, Sherm, I'll take a second look at them if they got Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, but Ted Lasso didn't turn up, did he?
Oh, was he supposed to be there?
Yeah.
Oh.
That makes a little bit more sense. At least he represents leadership.
Yeah, but he was watching the basketball game down the road, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Well, hands up. Who would rather go to a Sherm conference or a basketball game? Like, basketball game for me all day long.
I don't even like basketball, and I pick basketball. No, but I'm sure Kevin Bacon did a great job, right? But what? Why Kevin Bacon?
Got to sell tickets somehow.
But at least
he probably just reenacted scenes from Footloose or something.
Well, right, exactly. At least Ted Lasso is leadership in action, right?
Yes,
Humility and leadership in action. There is a connection to the Ted Lasso way.
He did it well, didn't he?
I just
ignored them and went somewhere else.
I've not watched.
So that's actually intentionally the choice of I don't care. In breach of contract.
Is this a spoiler? Because I've not watched the end of it.
No.
Oh, okay, cool.
No, in breach of contract with Sherm, intentionally,
right.
I'm just gonna suck it to these guys. No, I just yes, it's cool to bring in celebrities, maybe, but celebrities who've done arguably nothing in the world of work.
I was about to say, you can't argue that Kevin Bacon's done nothing.
Oh, he's done everything in acting and music and entertainment.
And he sells mobile phones in the UK, cell phones in the UK.
Oh, so are you selling cell phones?
Yeah.
But there's countless examples, right? Why are we not elevating the voices who are actually doing things in the space or are contributing in a meaningful way? Like Brene Brown, she's not in the space, but she contributes in a meaningful way. That makes sense to me when you have Brene Brown come in. And you get people gushing about her today. If I say that name in public, someone will gush about her.
Joe Dispenza.
Yeah, those people make sense to me. Just pulling in a recognizable celebrity for the sake of having a recognizable celebrity.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
Ooh. Yeah, well, there's a whole thing with Sherm and CIPD that there's a little bit of an ego trip, and learning technologies as well, in that there is the same old faces doing the same old things, and it's just a bit dry.
Exactly.
But I know this is going to be slightly hypocritical, but they like the sound of their own voices too much, and anybody who knows me knows that I love the sound of my own voice. But like, at least I like to think I'm emotionally aware enough that like I'm not the only voice of an industry yet. Yeah. You go to these events and they put the CEO of these bodies and they kind of do their own keynote about how the future of work is going to look and all this kind of stuff. But you're just one person who's quite actually detached from the reality of stuff. So why are you the best person to tell us this kind of stuff? Because it doesn't really, like, there's no practicality in that. So even Kevin Bacon is vastly removed from this scenario. Because even if he has had like a job, like being employed, it probably was like, I don't know, how old is he, but like 30 years ago.
Probably more.
Is he like?
Well, when did Footloose come out? When did Footloose come out?
Mm.
And he was like a thing before that.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I was a kid when Footloose came out.
Oh, so he's older than you?
Rude.
That's not rude.
It was 30 years older than you.
All right,
I mean, I am
you talk while I look up Kevin Bacon's age.
Yeah,
but here's the thing: the very fact that they're talking about the future of work in itself shows how detached they are. And one thing that I'd also like to point out is, whilst I fundamentally disagree with, say, the leadership aspect of Sherm, there are some great grassroots Sherm chapters throughout the States who are doing great stuff, and they are together. Yeah,
because they're boots on the ground though. They're in there doing stuff. Whereas, you know, the leader of a Sherm, a CIPD, a Learning Technologies in the UK, like, far removed. They have lots of conversations with people that do stuff, don't get me wrong. They're talking to those people. But their experience is so practically removed from the industry they work in. That's like, well, actually, you should be amplifying the voices of other people, not taking the limelight for yourself. And I think it's quite sad. And but then to not give the limelight to others, to give it to Kevin Bacon is like
that. Yes, that is
as the leader of Sherm, I'm not going to do the keynote speech today, but I'm going to hand it over to someone I think we can all know and trust in the world of work,
Kevin Bacon.
But there's that game, isn't there? 8 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon. We're all 8.
6.
Is it 6? We're all 6 steps away from Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
So now knowing that he's spoken at Sherm, then we can all probably get there quite quickly.
Amazing, isn't it? So, Callie, any last thoughts about tomorrow? Any last messages you'd like just to share for anyone watching who's still on the fence about tomorrow? Get your ticket, and I'll be saying hello to you.
Yeah, Sam is amazing and brilliant, but also running our registration table. So very excited to have a familiar face leading the charge there. But yeah, get your tickets. That's all it is, right? Check it out. It's so much different than any other HR event you've been to. It's an opportunity to network and engage with other people who are excited and doing things differently, which I think is the best value add. And the energy in the room is
insane.
If you haven't experienced it, it's hard to understand what we're talking about. But yeah, no, it's a really great place to get excited about the change that needs to happen. And if you haven't experienced a Disrupt HR yet, you need to do it, regardless of where you live.
And there's some incredible speakers, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm literally fishing for compliments here, if you wouldn't mind.
I mean,
I wasn't
international.
Well, yeah, but my ego needs to
international. We have innovative, creative founders who have gone out of their way to disrupt HR every single day.
Yeah. Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
And
so others. That was nicer than I expected.
And others. You, Josh Dreen, Dan Riley, I can keep going on.
Well, the thing I love about all the speakers that you've curated for Disrupt MSP as well is that I'll make this my closing thoughts, is that in what you were saying, Sam, so there's like, the future of work is not defined, right? Someone has to go into that space and design it. And if I compare myself with Josh Dreen as an example, 2 very, very different views of the world of work, both equally valid and innovative and doing like groundbreaking work to kind of research and do that. And I think when I reflect on what me and Josh do, both are probably going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But defining what that world looks like in a space where no one else is doing it, and this is the bugbear I have with Kevin Bacon and SHRM and CIPD and Lend Technologies. None of those organizations are defining what the future is. They are playing with the here and now, making these very tiny steps where actually, if you look at what Josh is doing, you read his books, or when it comes out, it's not yet, is it? Not yet. So, I mean, even just hear some of the stuff he talks about on live streams, right, is that, okay, wow, you've gone into the future, thought about what that could design and that could look like and go into that. And that's why, you know, a lot of our technology comes from sci-fi films, like hoverboards. I know we haven't really actually had hoverboards, but like there was that whole craze when we thought we had hoverboards, and it was like, well, would we have tried to make a hoverboard had they not been in Back to the Future? Like, there's a reason sci-fi created the appetite for it, and then someone designed it. So it's like, well, if you can design something hypothetically and create this ecosystem of work, then get people on and buy into a vision like mine or Josh's, then you can start designing for that and build a movement. But to kind of go, okay, well, I tell you what, we'll just like make these micro changements in employment law or DEI or DI or whatever you want to call it, right? Is the like,
or just not to it, sure.
Should just go la 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 la. It's not happening. These stupidly small micro steps is like, well, these industry bodies that are supposed to be defining and supporting our industry are just a load of old people.
Or old mindset.
I
think people who bought into the old mindset and knew the right people to people please.
Yeah. And like, and traditionally in the world of work, that would make you a load of money because the pace of change wasn't so great. Now the pace of change is so quick that like, well, the people who probably make the change happen are going to make more money than the people that profiteer from keeping the status quo.
Okay, I want to make one quick comparison, okay. So I think what Josh is doing is wildly different than what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then what I'm doing in saying we need to get back to the basics and we need to meet basic needs and make it easier for people to be in work. You know, let's go old tech and just meet basic needs. There's room for all these different variations of that. And it's not a this versus that. It's going to take all of these things to, one, figure out how to make an impact, but also make an impact in the right place. What I'm doing is not going to make sense for lots of different places.
But herein lies the issue, right? Is that in the world of HR, employee experience, people teams, employers have tried to create this super bland vanilla approach. It's like, here is the system that works for everyone.
That's what I mean. Is that we need to get comfortable with the idea and own which employer brand, like that's how you create your employer brand, is by doing something different, because that's what makes sense for who you employ and who you want to engage and who you want your customer to be. Don't try to be doing that. Do things differently. Find the approach that makes sense for your population.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Thank you to you both. Toby, do I take it that was your
Yeah, I've got nothing more to add. I want to go and look outside and look at the piece.
Toby wants us to praise him speaking at Disrupt Minneapolis more.
What? I'm speaking.
Do you want to give what? Surprise! You have 24 hours to prepare Disrupt HR. No, do you want to give a teaser on what you're talking about?
Yeah. Trying to figure out now in my head how I'm going to do that. So anyone who's ever talked to me about anything in terms of the world of work is like, there is bigger inspiration to take outside of the world of work than inside.
Kevin Bacon.
Well, okay, so there you go. Maybe something, but like the pace of change of technology, how society interacts with each other, economic factors, the way all these things change outside of the world of work is far quicker and more rapid than any employer has ever done. And this has been since I entered the workforce, 18 years ago. Even then, like the pace of change of the organization I've worked in, like the technology we're using, the way we're interacting with each other, did not replicate how that was happening outside the world of work. So I'm going to give you 2 tips on how to bring outside of work thinking inside to the world of work. That's my Chandler being kind of.
I love it.
It's going to be
okay. Can I ask you to give your teaser of your Phoenix talk?
Oh, interesting. So,
Sam genuinely has a
surprising.
does, right?
rude.
Do you want me to give my teaser of my Fargo talk that I
Yes.
also haven't written yet?
I mean, mine is.
If you're from Fargo, I've totally, it's all done. It's ready to go. It's buttoned up.
Yeah.
That's an American school bus. I've never seen one of those in real life before.
Oh, Sam, Phoenix.
Days. So mine is all about kind of the commercialization of HR. I'm going to talk about some couple of exciting things that people can actually use and take away with that. And it's all about HR rising like in Phoenix. See what I did there? Yeah, so I'm excited.
Yay! I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see the recordings. I'm so bummed that it's 2 days after my event and I couldn't do that to my family to come out with you guys because I would have loved to have done that.
Yeah, we'd have loved
I'm alright with that, you know, it's fine.
You're like, I was sick of you.
3 days is enough.
And on that bombshell, we really wanted today to be able to just do something together. We know it's a bit different and it's a bit informal. Thank you again for constantly sharing your ideas with us, your suggestions and recommendations. We're here to rip it all apart, put it back together again, make the world a better place, but we can't do it without you. We want to tackle the difficult topics. We'll do it. So if there's something you want us to talk about, let us know.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
From a technical perspective,
How
how we're going to end this stream?
You see me like looking down, it was like, oh.
The laptop's there. One of us needs to get on our hands and knees to a laptop that's on the floor.
You hold Harriet.
Uh,
I'll run. You guys say goodbye for real, and I'll move out of this